Welcome to Licking Non-Vanilla, a sex-positive hour of talk about kink, sexual mores, and writing dirty words. So grab a cup of cocoa, your favorite easy chair, and the lube as we go sailing into the dark, sweet waters of all things naughty. On Licking Non-Vanilla with your hosts Ralph Greco Jr. and M. Christian.
Hey kids, welcome to Licking Non-Vanilla. With me, one of your hosts, Ralph Greco Jr., and across the country from me is...
Chris, otherwise known as M. Christian, from the wilds of Eugene, Oregon.
Chris was just showing us his large rocket, as we say. Weren't you, Chris?
I was going to show you my rocket. Yes.
Chris's rocket is so big it's in 3D. That's how big it is. Chris, you want to show real quick? We'll show it real quick. There it is. It's coming up on the. It's rising. Chris makes his rocket rise as he usually does.
There's my rocket.
That's his 3D prototype. It was made from a 3D printer, right, Chris?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's really cool, and because Chris and I are incredible geeks as we are, so anything like this is. Chris, what's the plastic you said it was made out of?
PLA.
Because we were busting Chris. Because if anybody knows, if you know this reference, it's not made out of it's some sort of a what is it, Chris?
I think it's actually based on soybeans or something like that. It's actually biodegradable. So over time, this thing will eventually disintegrate. But
it's not Soylent Green though.
Nope. Unfortunately not. I mean, I could definitely harvest some people I could think of and just turn them into some other things. But
if you haven't seen that movie, go check it out. That's
exactly.
So Chris, I had occasion a couple of weeks ago because we took a little time to get this together, but to go to the Exxxotica, New Jersey convention.
I'm so jealous.
Have you been to Exxxotica, New Jersey?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. I haven't been to that many like those kind of conventions. I used to go to the one in San Francisco where we actually met in person for the first time, which is the Why Not ones. And I went to another one in Los Angeles a long time ago, but I frankly can't remember which one it was. It could have been AVN. I'm not too sure.
What was the one you came out to Jersey for? Because it was in this place. When you went to Jersey, remember you had like a last-minute guest, you filled in for a guest spot in Jersey.
Oh, I think it was a kink convention, I think. Okay. I can't remember.
Yeah, but that was at the same venue.
Mm-hmm.
Actually.
Okay, cool.
But now when Chris was talking about the Why Not, and we'll come back to that for a second, Why Not was a B2B. That was for all people in the business to meet and talk, and it was web people. Back in the day when the web start was just starting up, and that's where Chris and I actually met. We told the story before. But Exxxotica is a fan convention, a porn fan convention. And Chris, there was tons of people. I mean, I think because, with COVID the last couple of years, people finally really came out for this, And usually that space is so big that they usually have these muscle car kind of things in the corners just to fill out the space. They didn't need it this time. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was so many people. I went on Friday, which is kind of like the press night day, and then it's kind of like with the ladies' night, so if ladies get in for free. It was banging, Chris. It was so busy. It was really something.
I do want to do it one of these days. One day we're going to do it together.
We got to do. Yeah, and Exxxotica plays all across the country. So this is the New Jersey one, and there's one in Miami, in Chicago, and DC, and I think there's going to be one in New York. But anyway, it was something else. And there, we were just talking about Why Not. I reconnected with Jay and Connor from Why Not. Chris, when are we talking? Maybe 12 years since we've seen those guys?
Don't remind me. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like I suddenly realize how long it's been since I've done something, and it ends up being like 20 years or 30 years. I bet it's been around 12 years. It was back in it was the early 2000s or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But
now, yeah. I mean, it was now I'll be remiss if I don't tell you. You're going to see a lot of pictures coming up in the beginning of the show of what I saw, and we'll go back to the videos of those people. But our producer's going to throw all those videos up to show a scroll, more or less, and then we'll get into it. But I just wanted to start the show by saying I went. I wish Chris had been there because we do have a great time when we're together. I mean, it's been a while, but we do have a blast of a time in any of these kind of situations. Chris and I have done a lot of kink conventions together, and they're pretty interesting, to say the least. But it was something, Chris. It really was. I mean, just a lot of companies out. And, interestingly enough, when I first went to Exxxotica, I don't even know how long ago, that's when the movie companies were really popular.
Mm-hmm.
Vivid and Wicked, and they had their own areas set up. And now it's some movie companies, but a lot of girls are just doing it themselves. How they have their own content. They have their own. In fact, I saw Lily Craven, and I saw Coral and Jewel. They were right next to
that's very cool.
We've had on the show, and
Right.
I met last year. They were there doing their thing, and that's kind of the way it is. Smaller studios and girls doing it on their own. Which
Yeah, it's remarkable how that's changed. I mean, it used to be like I said, the big studios are the way to go. Now it's like it's platforms. So it's it's not there's not companies they do make their own. Like there's some that actually make their own stuff, but for a lot of times it's just hosting platforms. And then it's like you said, the performers just do it themselves. And I think it's it's remarkable how that's changed.
It's really something. I mean, like Chatterbait it's one of the sponsors. They had a very big area, and the girls were there actually engaging in their camming right on the floor. So like you said, it is a platform as opposed to movie company. There were movie companies there, but you saw more of the girls independently setting up their own banner and doing their thing and signing autographs and whatever. Yeah, it was really cool. It really was. And again, because Chris and I are separated by the coast, the country, we can't get to see each other all that often. I wish we did. I mean, it would. If he lived closer, I lived closer. It would be
absolutely.
great.
But Charlie, I miss you so much, and it's just like
back at you.
Now that the pandemic looks like it's ebbing, we definitely got to do more things.
Oh yeah, no, we got to get together, and maybe we've been talking about Vegas. The two of us have been talking about Vegas for a while, and we have a little connection there, and then maybe we could do something out there. And
is it AVN? AVN's actually in Vegas.
It is
the one that you go. Yeah, that's it.
AVN is Vegas, but the good thing about AVN is there's a twofold to that convention. There's the heavy duty porn awards in the convention, and then a week before is a fan convention.
Oh, cool!
And then like a fan technology thing, which would be cool. I would rather do that than the actual AVN.
Sure.
I know we could probably get press for AVN if we wanted to, but we just got to get out to Vegas, and it's one of those things,
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, whenever it is, I can't remember when it is, but maybe
January.
Plan for it.
Yeah,
January. And that's a little too soon, but we can probably plan for sometime in the future. But I'm sure we could probably wrangle press passes, probably for the fan thing too. So I agree with you. The fan thing would be more interesting.
I think so. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go piece by piece on what I did there, and Chris and I will talk about it a little bit. So the first, I'm going to introduce the first lady now, and then we'll get into it. So the first lady up is going to be someone that one of Erica Icons. Erica is a press person who's set us up with a lot of the women that you've seen on this show, actually, the guests that we've had. And Erica's been great to us all along. And she set me up with a couple of ladies to meet there. I mean, the ladies get met by so many people. You know how it is, Chris. All those people walk up to those girls. But when I could drop Erica's name, it kind of gave him a little bit of a pause. Say, okay, this guy's not a fan. He wants to talk to me about whatever. So I did have a moments with a couple. So the first lady you're going to see is a video of a woman, and then a pic. We have a video and a pic of a woman named Kiki Clout. That's KIKIALOUT. Here's Kiki Clout, who has a lot of clout, as you can see. And so you just got in, or were you in a couple days before, or did you just
I was here a couple days before to get ready, prepared. As you can see, they put a lot of effort into this. It's so high.
Right.
It's not an overnight Yep, right beside her. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Cool. So what's coming up in the near future? Anybody you shoot with, or you can tell us about?
You know, I don't know, because as much as it's a surprise to you guys, it's a surprise to me. It could be like, hey, you're shooting with someone so today. I'm like, what? Really? So, no, every day is different, and I take every day differently. But I mean, like podcasts, I have one dropping on Alexis, Texas. I have one dropping on Barstool Sports. Just podcasts, yeah, that's dropping.
What's the name of the podcast?
So Alexis, Texas is. I don't remember the name of the actual podcast.
We'll look it up and I'll put it on.
And then Only Stands. I know Only Stands is dropping. So I'm excited.
I had a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to I hope you have a great show. You know?
Thanks. I hope you guys enjoy your show.
Oh, we're going to do the best we can, you know.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
So that was I guess it was my first move through I was moving through the convention, Chris, for about an hour, getting a lay of the land, you know.
Right.
Because I had been to that convention before, and I usually got in a little earlier. They let press in early, and nobody was there. But this time, because I got in a little later, about 5 o'clock when everybody was coming in, everybody was set up, you know. And with Kiki, I came around a corner, and there she is. I'm like, well, America's ladies, let me talk to her. She was, so as you saw, she's really sweet, really, really sweet. And I did this thing where I kind of talked, everybody I spoke to, I said the same thing. So how long did it take you to get here? Because I came, you know, I live in North Jersey, so this is kind of in middle Jersey. And the traffic on a Friday in Jersey, man.
Oh, jeez.
Man. You know, you've lived in a lot of different places. Where would you say you've seen the worst traffic?
Oh God, it's hard to say. I mean, Los Angeles is infamous. You know, I lived there. You know, when I was born in the area, but before I left, the Bay Area got really bad. I mean, it got to a point where it was like LA. You simply don't travel at certain times during the day because you can't go anywhere. Then why? So you know, but it's so funny because now where I'm living, I don't think I've been here now about like 4 or 5 years, and I've never seen a traffic jam. So when even like the traffic starts to slow down, the joke is, "Oh my God, it's a traffic jam." You know, and it's one of those places too. It's like, you know, anything that is, the joke around Eugene and Springfield is that if anything is 20 minutes away, that's too far.
Right, yeah. Oh, God forbid, yeah. No, I mean, you know, LA traffic, New York traffic, you know, we know traffic. But it was funny. Yeah, it's just funny talking to Kiki because he was the first person I asked. We were talking about a couple things, and whether or not I caught it on the video, I'm not even sure, but I know that at one point I was like, yeah, and then she was like, she was being sweet. She didn't want to say anything disparaging about the area, but you could see she was like, this is tough getting around here, you know. And they all, I think some of the ladies came in on that Friday. They rolled. I saw people rolling in right then, and other people rolled in, you know, a couple days beforehand. You know, got set up at their hotels. You know, which is always a good idea if you can, you know, if you can do it. But that's the reality of having a convention in San Francisco or New York or New Jersey, or, you know, it's gonna be a little crazy to get around, you know, and you know, it was fun to talk to her because she's very, I just saw, she's very sweet and very, very vivacious, very into it, and, you know, wanting to be there. That was the thing I really found too. The ladies really were. Well, I get, you know, generally speaking, Chris, would you do this kind of thing unless you weren't? You wouldn't do this thing unless you were into fans, right? Unless you're into fans.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, I've worked like yourself. I mean, we've both done quite a bit of work from the B2B side of things. I've never really followed a lot of performers as fans. There's some I'd like to meet, but just because I think they're kind of cool people. I can't remember anybody off the top of my head. But yeah, it'd be interesting to go as a fan. I mean, that's just such a big difference when you do as you're working it. You know, like working for Why Not, which we both done, and, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, it's very different when you go actually as a fan person.
Yeah, and you know, there's a certain level of, if the performer's going to be there at all, they should be there because they're into it. Mm-hmm. You know, like, why you bother going if you don't want to meet people, and, you know, because that's what it's about, right? I mean, you're signing pictures and you're signing DVD covers, and that's why you're there. So if you're not really into being upfront, bubbly, and into it, there's no reason to go. And that's what I say. Across the board, most of these ladies, well, everybody I met and everybody I even saw, everybody was well into meeting their fans and having a good time.
Well, that's good.
And it was so over the top crowded that you could see people were just thrilled to see each other. Just we're like out and about, and it was happy to be outside, and being together. So it was a good feeling overall. It really felt good.
Well, that's good. There's nothing better than a convention that is full of people who actually want to be there and are being, being excited. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is getting over COVID again, because oh my God, actually, like you said, can leave the house. But I mean, I would love to go, to sometime in the future. But there's also a certain amount of really coolness to be able to walk around with the press pass.
Press
absolutely.
Pass.
Press
absolutely.
pass. I am not just a fan. I'm actually working.
Right.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, because you know what happened? The way it went down. I was given a pass for my photographer and I, and I was told I was only going to get a wristband. There was no laminate. When I got there, they had laminates. So we put the laminates on, and because the laminates say press, everybody kind of gives you that kind of like, we want to talk to you. So it's pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's cool, walking around like backstage somewhere. So.
You didn't have a little notepad with a pencil. It was like, yes.
Yeah, right. That's the hat with the press.
There you go.
Press, yeah, right. Okay, so that was Kiki, and we're going to go into another one who's this next girl we met. Kind of just walked right by her, and she's an independent producer, content producer, and we walk right by her. Her name is Tati Evans, and that's TatiEvans, and you'll see a picture of Tati, and then the video we took, and she's just she was pretty great. She was just really sweet, and had a lot to present, Chris, if you know what I mean. She was presenting very very presentable girl. But you'll see the video, and then we'll come back to talk about her. So that's that section right now.
All right, so here we are. Ready? Yeah. Okay. We're running around Exxxotica. This is our home turf, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
So we got up to a hot toddy, a very hot toddy. It's Tati Evans, and Tati, she's got purple hair in that picture. And she has brown hair here. So tell us why you just started to tell that story.
Yeah, so I got out of the Marine Corps about a year ago. Rock. And I was
Thank you for your service.
I'm gonna dye. Thank you for your support. I was like, I'm gonna dye my hair purple, and my hair was purple all of last year. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to brown. But a lot of my promo photos, I'll have. I don't know if I can show that on here.
Yes, you can.
Purple hair, in all my pictures and my banners. But back to brown.
So were you doing adult stuff before you went away? Went away before you went to the military?
So I was in the reserves, so it was really low key.
Okay.
But I actually got kicked out. I got NJP'd because they found out about the OnlyFans.
No kidding.
Yeah,
really?
and so they let us leave. My boyfriend and I. They let us leave quietly with honorable discharge, but they were like, "We're gonna NJP you, and you gotta go."
NJP?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's basically
What's that stand for?
non-judicial punishment. It's just like a you got in trouble,
but it's not a big deal.
On paper.
Right.
It can be a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not spying for the Russians or anything.
Oh, no. Just taking pictures of my tits and posting them online, which...
See, that's the American way, as far as I'm concerned.
Right?
Absolutely.
Apparently it's frowned upon.
Look, you should as well take pictures of them white-eyed, because they're there.
All natural, baby.
Wow, okay.
Like that movie, Summer Rental.
That's right. Okay, so what's coming up for you? What are you doing right now, on the shoot content?
Oh, shoot, okay. I do all kinds of content, girl, boy, solo, orgy, swap.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of kink, because most people are here for my boobs, but just a little bit of everything, Right.
Cool. And what's coming up in the future? Anything big coming up in the future for you? Or any plans for anything you're hoping to accomplish?
Just make a lot of money.
There you go.
Using what God gave me.
No,
you know,
yeah.
make money is like take care of my family and the people close to me. But
So I'm assuming it's all natural.
oh yeah, I'm all natural, 100%. No plastic, no fucking.
And the size?
Not transfer. I'm sorry.
Your size?
My boobs?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a 36G.
G? As in good.
As in,
As in great.
Great.
well, it's been very nice to have a couple minutes with you. Really.
Yeah,
It's
nice
Licking
to meet you.
Non-Vanilla. We're doing that's the shirt. My shirt don't matter for shit. It doesn't matter. And like I said to you, we'll get you up.
Yeah,
Chris.
that's great.
Take some still pictures.
She's okay. She's an independent girl, right? Very
Right.
busty, young busty. She was in the Marines.
Oh,
And what happened in the Marines is they found out she was making content with her boyfriend, and they kind of jettison. She says it on the video. They call it something where they request you to leave, but it's not. They don't like. I don't know. They don't kick you out, but it's kind of like like a dishonorable discharge, but like an honorable discharge. Okay, so you saw my talk there with Taddy Evans, and Chris, that was an interesting story that she was telling about the fact that her boyfriend and her were making content when they were in the service, and then they got booted out. And you watch the video. I don't remember now what she said. She called it something like it, not an honorable discharge, but something like that. I guess because it's kind of sticky. They want you out, but at the same time, you haven't done anything terrible. It's not like you sold secrets to the Russians or anything. So, so that's the way it goes. But as you saw, Chris, she's quite the cutie.
oh, absolutely. And
yeah.
it's weird because it's like, I've had mixed feelings because, frankly, if you're in the military, you should be able to do what you want in your spare time. But at the same time, at least they were fair. They didn't dishonorably discharge her. So, that's something at least, because I think she still gets benefits and stuff. So at least, it's not great, but it could have been worse.
Well, yeah. And I think you're right. I think there's some sort of modicum of, holding your honor there or whatever, and I guess, but she got it. And but like I said, like we were saying before, she's not under the she's not being represented by Erica, so she's an independent producer. She's a stone cold independent producer, like Coraline Jewell and Lily Craven. Those women are independent girls, and they do their own thing there, and that's interesting how that they I would say, Chris, the percentage of that was probably 70-30. As far as independent women to studios,
I can't remember. I can't tell you how many studios are even left these days. I mean, the only ones I can think of are the ones that are actually done by a website or a platform.
Absolutely.
I've been writing about virtual reality way too much, and I know like Sex Like Real has their own production company, and they actually make things. Yeah. But I can't think of anybody who actually is an independent production company these days, unless it's like something very specific, like Kink or something like that. But
yeah, absolutely. And funny you say that because I was flipping some PRs today for Adult Time and they have they have their own brand. They have their own brands. Like so, Adult Time has whatever brand is their fetish brand, and MILF.com has. Older mommies, younger mom, whatever. I mean, there's all these different, but but there is studios are broken down that way now, but they are platforms. They really are. They're quickly shot content. Sometimes the girls shoot the content themselves and get whatever. But that's how it is. It's not like those big companies anymore. I don't even know if there's any really major companies. I don't even know, to tell you the truth.
I think except for like some of the really very, like we just said, very specific ones like Kink and so forth. But I mean, it just makes perfect sense. It's kind of like anything else we're talking about. It's like if you're a musician, I mean, you used to have a studio. You used to have a huge amount of equipment that you couldn't do yourself, and that's sort of true. In the same way, record labels were the only way to get the music out, but that's no longer true. Publishing is the same way. So porn is just kind of naturally evolved in that direction. So all you need is a webcam and they're all set to go.
And a log on to OnlyFans or ManyVids. I mean, you don't need anybody.
Yep.
I don't even know how much they even care about their publicity because you have fans. You just get your content right out to your fans directly.
Exactly.
So None of that happening.
It's like social media. You slowly build up fan base and such. I used to work for someone whose company actually they created a webcam studio that the performers could come in and use. And it was just like off a strip mall, and you wouldn't know, except for like the weird name of it. And you go inside, and there's like the front desk, there's a little kitchen area, and there's a bathroom, and then there's all these little booths, and all of them are decorated kind of flamboyantly, and they basically rented the space for people to come in and do cam shows, which I thought was a really interesting little business model.
Well, you got portable studios, music studios, you got portable podcast studios. I mean, that's what's happening. That's just how people are doing it. I can record now in ways I can't even. The difference in the way I can record music I can't. It's like what I was doing beforehand was like stone knives, like as opposed to what I can do now. It's just it's amazing. And then if you get with some people who know what the hell they're doing, like I luckily have somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, it helps a lot, but you can produce your own content and get it to where you need to get it,
Exactly. And then if you're something you don't know how to do or you don't have the resources, you can outsource it. There's somebody out there who'll do like cover design, or someone who can do, I don't know what, I'm not musically inclined, but cleaning up tracks or doing something like that or something similar. So it's like it's like if you don't do it, there's somebody out there who does.
Exactly, it's exactly true. Now, Chris, we're going to go into what you're going to show real quick. You're going to see real quick is a twofold picture. It's these two women that we caught real quick. They were kissing, and then one of them was throwing. Pushing her face into the cleavage of the other. So you'll see that pic real quick, and I'll come right back right after that, and we'll talk about who we're going to talk to first. So let's see that. We'll flash that pic up for you to enjoy. So you saw a funny pic there of the girl being. Anyway. I got another occasion to talk to another one of Erica's ladies, and this is a young blonde lady called Lily Bell, really sweet. In fact, Lily is, it's not going to matter, but as we tape this, she's a featured dancer in Houston this week, I think. But it's not going to matter because by the time this goes out, she will have done that. But we're going to give her a nice shout out, Lily. Anyway, you'll see Chris, and as the audience will too. She's just really bubbly and sweet and. Just adorable. But really, another one of those people that everybody's just really... And again, I know it's because I'm walking around with a pass that says press. But I like to think people are nice anyway,
Go ahead.
Generally speaking, the people that you and I met, other than a few people that we do agree on that are a little wackadoo, most of the people we've met in this business are pretty freaking nice.
Oh right? Yeah, I completely agree. Oh yeah, I mean it's one of the nicer group of people I think I've ever hung out with. No arrogance, just really friendly. I'm not just sure why, but I'm very grateful for it. Because all my experience has always been extremely pleasant, and everyone seems to be really just very down to earth.
Yeah, I mean that holds true for the Kingsters, and I mean that the mainstream believe those people to be the craziest, wackiest people in the world, and we've met some of the coolest people, the nicest people in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like you end up hanging out with someone. It doesn't matter what they're into, but they're just really nice people. And it's very true. It's just like I always get kind of like. Roll my eyes when people talk about how weird it is. It's like, you hang out with like so-called unkinky people, and they're the ones who have the weird issues. The same thing with people who aren't in the sex industry or something similar.
Yeah, no, I know. And again, we were talking about on the top of the hour about Why Not, the guys from Why Not. I mean, I couldn't. It was as if a day had not passed.
Yep.
Like what happened was. I was hanging out with Lily and Coral and Jewel. They were in one area. So, and they know the guys from Why Not. So I figured, let me be here because I'm going to meet them. And then the guy from the the guy from Kink Queens was who I had never met either. He was there, and I was good to meet him. And I've written for him. We've talked about it. We blogged about his stuff. So anyway, we were all kind of in the one area because I knew Jay and Connor knew them. And then what happened was the people from Exxxotica came over, and it was great to see them because I've written for them. We blogged about them, and so they came over. And first time I ever met them. Wonderful. So I'm getting this text on my phone. Jay's there, Connor's there. I'm like, I'm right here at Lily's. So Jay just comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it, like give him a big hug, but like not a day had passed, Chris, not a day. Aww. Like we were just like old friends, just hanging out, and and he's as lively and just as fun as ever. Those guys are salt of the earth kind of guys.
Oh, they're such sweethearts. I do miss going to those events because they were always so wonderful. And we must have gone 2 or 3 of them. I can't remember. I think there was.
I was at least 2. I think the first year was 2009 and then 10. Mm-hmm. So the first year is when we met.
Right.
The second year, and I was with Lisa because we talked to Lisa. On
yes, yes.
And then the second one, I went by myself.
Right.
And you were there, but you were also working part-time.
Yeah, I was working that one, I think, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I think that was the 2 that we went to. Mm-hmm. You may have gone to another one before or after, I don't know. Because you lived in the area.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. I remember there's 2, because I remember we had those wonderful parties they had at the castle.
At the Armory, yeah.
The Armory, yes.
Yeah.
And how wild that was.
That was a lot of fun. That really... Chris is talking about the Kink Armory, where there was a lot of used to be the studio where they would shoot the Kink stuff.
Yep. Yeah, that was a blast. I was just like, they had this little mini bus that would run us down there, and they had the space was already converted to shoot BDSM films, but they turned it into a party space. And the first year was like the whole thing. I think they reduced it considerably for the second. But
the first year, the food was crazy. Remember the first year food?
Oh, it was bonkers.
Was crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just. So, and then after I saw Jay, he said, "Well, Connor's at the booth." So I went over and saw Connor at their booth, and he's another guy. Like not another day had passed, So it was just so great to see those guys, and reconnect like that,
Oh, they're such sweethearts.
They're great guys. Now you're going to see a picture of a couple of. 2 interesting pictures, and I'm not going to spoil it when I say it here. We'll put it up on the screen, and two still pictures of what was there, Chris, just from some of the people walking around. I'll let that go up, and then we'll come back, and I'll get into the last video, which was with Lauren Phillips.
Great.
So, Chris, you see this first picture. Sure is someone on a leash here with their, I guess, their owner. I don't know. But anyway, this is what happens at these conventions. You have people dressed up, and you have people acting out, and you have people enjoying themselves, and only in the ways they can. So you see this. When we went through this, the title in these pictures, I pictured this one leash pick, as you see. This is not a kink convention, but there's a lot of everything happening here.
There's a lot of crossover.
Oh yeah, and then the other one is just a booty pic. As you will see at these pics. It's interesting. At this convention, no one is naked. If a woman's walking around topless, she's got pasties on, and a lot of thong and lingerie, but nobody's naked. But it's funny thing about pasties. I'm like, what are you covering? I'm seeing all your breasts except for your nipples. Like, what are you covering? It's just like, I don't understand it. Like, it's really a weird distinction because that small area of the nipple is covered, right? But right. I'm seeing all the breasts, as much breast as you possibly could see. And I wonder, like, we've had this discussion before, like, what is it about the nipple that makes people crazy?
It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. I never understand it anyway. And it's weird too, because it's like, it depends on what your gender expression is. You can show them or not. It's like whatever. But is that a convention thing, or is that a Jersey thing, or is that like I don't know how that works, because I know it's different in certain cities.
Well, I realize what it is. Well, I'm just going by media, like what you see on television.
And sometimes it's alcohol.
Well, yeah, football can be anything, but I noticed. I was watching. You know that show, the show that Botched, where they do the thing about the plastic surgeries.
Oh yes.
Okay, so I'd say about it. I've seen a couple series of these shows, a couple years. This year, I noticed that they're no longer blurring out ass. You could see all a full on ass with the crack. Okay, and we kind of know we all have that, right? But years ago, you couldn't. They would blur out not the booty itself, but the crack. Not that whatever they're blurring, is there anyway. It's not like you don't know it's there. But I'm thinking like, so this is, and so, but now they can show the crack. I guess the infiltration of cable, I think, changes these television shows. So anyway. So it's, but before it was no nipple, no crack, right? Mm-hmm. Certainly certainly no penis, or peni. So I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking anything that shows possible function, I think that's going to start getting, because nipple can secrete milk, right? Mm-hmm. You know what comes out of a crack of the ass, right? Something comes out of that, and for all of us, right? And then out of a penis can ejaculate, right? So, or pee, right, Mark? So it seems to me that like that's what it is. You certainly can't show the penis hole, the urethra. Mm-hmm. You can't show the nipple. I think it's because they secrete. I think that's what it is. That's why. So you're covering the nipple with you're blurring the nipple like on Real Housewives. You'll see the blur a nipple or something, and I'm like, you're blurring a nipple. First of all, I know it's there. Second of all, what's crazy about it is there's so much breast flesh. What are you hiding from me? So it's a weird Puritan. It's a Puritan thing we have in this country. It
is, and it's only this country because I remember when I was living in Europe, it's like I was channel surfing and there's a commercial for orange juice and there's a topless woman doing it. It's just like for them it's just like it's like okay, whatever, because there's a separation between nudity and sexuality too.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But even so, it's kind of done very playfully and something but you're right, our country is so messed up when it comes to this kind of thing. And it's also sometimes there's weird laws too. It's like if you serve alcohol, you can't be naked, but if you don't, you can. And there's certain kind of cities also have rules, and there's even Vegas has certain rules, and I know Jersey probably does too, but other places don't. And then there's only if you do have this, whatever. It's just weird. It doesn't make any sense.
It gets crazy, man. Because I'm like, what are we hiding each other from? We know it's there. We all know that if you're showing the booty and you're pixelating it out, not to show the crack, but you still see the crack anyway. You just see it under the pixelation. I'm like, what are you hiding from me? I know it's there.
Again, it doesn't make any sense because we've been to kink conventions where people have been buck naked walking around, without a problem, and doing a lot more than just walking around buck naked. And then at the same time, down the street, the strip club can't show nipples. It's like, I know, whatever.
I just can't keep up, man. It's just I don't know. So now. This next and last video, Chris, and will be a picture too, is of Lauren Phillips. Now, Lauren is another one of Erica's ladies, and she's also was there with a kind of a rope company, and she'll say it in the video. You'll see it. So she's there doing her own table, and she's there repping for them, and. So when I came up to meet her, you'll see it, I said something about, because she's very tall, and she was wearing really high heels to begin with. I said, wow, you're really tall. You're really a tall drink of water. And she said, yes, I am. I just hope you're thirsty. Which I thought was kind of funny, And she's this big, bodacious redhead, and she was just a sweet lady. So we'll run the video, and then we'll come back to Lauren, and then we'll wrap this up, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Lauren Phillips. Well, how tall are you normally without those?
I am 5'11".
You're already like full drink of water.
Yes, I'm a tall glass of water. I hope you're thirsty.
Oh, yeah, I love that. That's great. So what are we doing here, Lauren? First of all, let me answer this question. When did you get in? Did you get in yesterday? Did you get in today?
I got in today.
Oh, so you've been rushing around a little bit?
Yeah, I did a red eye.
Oh.
Yeah, it was harsh. But I had to be on set yesterday.
You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, I gotta work.
Hustle. So tell us what you're doing. You're doing it for yourself, right? Or you're representing.
I am sponsored. Kim Luca Studios right here.
Okay.
They sell rope, all different types. They teach how to tie people up, also how to rig, how to suspend.
Cool.
They're my sponsors.
Oh, very nice.
They basically, I represent them. I can educate people about rope if I want to, but I'm also here to sell my own stuff.
All your stuff.
So
right.
This is all.
Okay, cool. So what are we shooting? What's coming up in just like the immediate future for you? Anything you can tell us about? Let's put it that way.
What am I doing? I'm actually have a little bit of a break because I've been working so much for the past since the 4th of October, right?
Yeah.
And but I just did a mini series with Browsers.
Oh, cool.
But I'm not going to tell you about it. Let's just say I helped girls with their become their inner sluts.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, here.
Somebody has to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah.
I think the next thing that goes on is I head to Arizona to shoot for Nubiles.
Oh, okay.
And then after that I head to LA and I have a couple more shoots and then I have feature dancing in December.
Okay, great. Cool. Well, like I said, I'm going to get your information, and when this goes up, I'll send it to you.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so that was Lauren Phillips, and again,
that was wonderful.
Yeah, she's cool, right, Chris? Yeah, she's like, if you like them statuesque, that's a statuesque redhead. She really is. And another lady that we were introduced to by Erica Icon, so we thank Erica for that. And when this show goes up, I will blog about it, Chris. So I'll get all these names together and their social media handles and stuff. But
fantastic.
But that was Lauren, and that was kind of. I did a lot more. I walked around, and like I said, we hung out with Lily and Corlin quite a bit too. But that was kind of these were kind of the highlights of the people that I met, And it was
that was wonderful. Once again, I'm so jealous you got to do that. I mean, next year for sure, or at least year after next, maybe.
Oh, you got to get out.
We'll
we definitely get out, and we just got to. You and I got to get together and just hang out anyway.
Yeah, we got to do some planning for Vegas at least, or something like that.
I really would like Vegas. I mean, we could kind of do something in Vegas,
And like you said, we have the people at the Wonderful Sex Museum were fantastic, and
the Erotic Heritage
we can
Museum.
connect with other people. Yeah, exactly. The Erotic Heritage Museum.
The Erotic Heritage Museum is our good friends over there.
That was a wonderful time. That was a great trip.
Great people. We had some good food there even that night.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
We had some nice people, and it's just the traveling thing right now is still a little problematic.
It is.
I understand. So I think we're all going to slowly get back to it. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Just for now,
it's just a matter of time. But you're right. It's still kind of weird. It's still like. It's the restrictions are still somewhere in place and sometimes not, and it's just like I think probably like next year things will get back.
I think probably things will shake out over the summer and people will get their bearings, that kind of thing. But again, that was at the Exxxotica, New Jersey, 2000 whatever this year is, and and we did meet a lot of people. I met a lot of people, and I wanted to share that with you all and share it with Chris. Chris and I talked about it and shared it with Chris and. As best I could. But, this is one of those shows that is different for us because we didn't have a guest. We'll keep going, but go to the videotape, So it's a little bit different. So it's going to be in pieces like that. But we wanted to put it all together for you.
And thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It really was. And we're going to get some guests on soon, Chris. Get some guests lined up. And
cool.
You and I'll get into, our usual back and forth.
Our usual shtick.
Yeah, but you got to see Chris's rocket, which I'm happy about because.
There we go. I don't show my rocket to everybody, so consider yourself fortunate.
That's what he said, but that's completely bullshit. He can easily be bought to show you his rocket at any time. He's quite the rocket shower,
Well, I do have 2 movies floating around somewhere. I have never been able to find a copy of them, but I actually I appear in 2 very short films.
Oh,
and they're out there somewhere, but I have no idea what they're called, so I can't look them up.
Oh man, when did you make those?
Oh boy, those were way back in the 90s.
No, wow.
That was way back when. I mean, one of them was me and my wife at the time.
Okay.
The other time, it's like I had prepped myself up, I'd gotten my vitamins, I was ready to perform, and the only thing I do in the entire video is dress like I'm, some kind of chic and clapping my hands and introducing separate acts. So that's the only thing I'm in that one. So, but there is a sex tape out there somewhere.
Wow. See, you heard it here first. Look it up online because it's he's trying to sell it for millions. But well, I think this has been Licking Non-Vanilla. I'm not sure, but it hasn't. But anyway, we want to thank you for listening and viewing and looking at the blog and all the things you do. We really do appreciate it. And we're on a whole bunch of places that you can find us. And I constantly blog about it and let you know. So this has been, or is, Ralph Greco Jr., and over there is...
And this was, or maybe is, I can't remember, Chris, otherwise known as M. Christian.
And we'll see you next time, my little Drews. Goodbye!
And visit us on the web at www.lickingnonvanilla.com.